When I started playing, I was very, very young. I got my first guitar when I was 5, but didn't start to play until I was 7. In fact, the same day Jimi Hendrix died, it was a TV news thing, and I started playing the same day, and that was like the initial thing. But it wasn't until I was 8 that I got my first Deep Purple record, and that was something that really took me away, you know. That's all I wanted to do, you know, play guitar in a rock band. And then when I did that for a few years, I got bored with that, so I started listening to a lot of classical music. And the classical music became my biggest influence, and till this day still is. And there it is. The rest is history, isn't it? Not when I was listening to him. That was later, you know. I liked the very early Deep Purple records, like In Rock and Fireball and stuff like that. And I started like growing out of the Deep Purple thing by the time, I guess, well, I don't remember exactly when it was, but it was. I don't think my classical influence came from Ritchie. I think what Ritchie did to me was more like, you know, influenced me in different ways, you know, like being like a real mean guy or something. No, no, but no, it's just he was just a big impact on me, like as a person, I guess, you know, more than anything else. And the music is more influenced by classical music, but the hard edge is definitely my influence from Deep Purple. You know, I always want to have a hard edge and everything, and but have a melodic and classical influence, you know. Well, you know, I mean, I still remember some of the things. I mean, I used to know every solo he did, like in Deep Purple, Man Japan, and Fireball, and all those things. And I don't remember everything exactly anymore, but you know, I used to, you know, yeah. Yeah. Which one? I try to do Demon's Eye. I like it. Stuff like that, and you know, like Man Japan. What was that? Stuff like that, you know, like the old. You know, like that style of things. I always thought was really cool. You know, when I was a kid, that was like the only thing that meant anything to me, really. Don't remember everything now. Well, I've always, like, one of the reasons, it was 2 reasons I wanted to play guitar. One reason was because I loved the music, and the other reason was because I thought that Hendrix and Blackmore and those guys, they looked so cool, and I wanted to look cool, you know. And in order to look cool, you gotta do a lot of tricks on stage, like throw the guitar around and play with your teeth and all that stuff. And you know, I worked a hell of a lot on that stuff, you know. That's something that I worked on almost as much as my playing, and not quite as much, but. Okay. Do a little Van Halen on my teeth there. Well, it depends what you mean with being on stage. I played with a friend of mine. He was a drummer, and it was just me and a drummer. And I played through like an old tube radio, but it was quite loud anyway. That must have been about 1973, no, 70, maybe 72. You know, it was in school. You know, in there where people eat. You know, set up in there. That was the first time I played in front of a lot of people. I don't, you know, 25 people or something. And but you know, then I started, like, I joined some bands when I was about 11 years old. I was in bands with people that were like 20, 25 and stuff like that. So it was a bit of a, you know, people were going like, oh, who's that little kid, you know, type of thing. So I've always been on stage as long as I can remember. That's hard to, there are thousands of shows I've done. I mean, this is very difficult to remember. I mean, the ones that I remember probably the most are the ones that were the worst ones, like when people threw balls at me or mazed me or something like that, you know. But, you know, most of the time when I'm on stage, it's always very good, you know. I always try so hard, and I always try to get into a certain mood. So, like, you know, very rarely I come off stage and feeling it was a bad show. Most of the time I come off thinking it was pretty good, you know. But, you know, funny things have happened, you know, like people running up on stage and, you know, weird things like that.